Hey guys, welcome to the channel. As you see in the thumbnail, what if Issei becomes telepathic part 1. Before I start, please do support for more awesome content and subscribe my channel and like this video, and also go support the Skylinemaster for writing that awesome fanfic. Let's start this video. Sighed as I looked out the window of this apartment in the human world. The human world, so beautiful. Yet, inhabited by worthless humans. We deserve it, it is our natural right to inhabit the earth and the underworld. I brought this upon myself though. I volunteered for this mission, hoping it will bring us back into power. It's also the chance to destroy those loathsome Gremory and Citri clans from the face of the earth. It's a rather strange mission when I heard it. Infiltrate Kuo. Insert myself into the circle of the devils there and gather information. I protested. It was a mission that had no definite time span, which is prone to failure. A mission that has no end time is a futile mission, my father told me throughout the years. And this damn limiter on my ankle. What am I, a human convict? This ankle monitor limits the flow of power throughout my body. Right now, I am barely stronger than a low-class devil. That hurts my pride as a high-class devil to be reduced to such a weakling. Ah, yes. I forgot, I didn't introduce myself yet. My name is Issei Haidu, age 22. Only child of Duke Koji Haidu and Lady Sternia Stolas. My family has been loyal to the Leviathan since the beginning of time. The true Leviathan, of course. Not the imitation child Leviathan who is running the underworld right now. I am talking about the original Leviathan, the one that brought our kind out of heaven and made us who we are to this day. I was a powerful child, having two powerful devil bloodlines running through your body does that to you. My father served the Leviathan faithfully, as did his father and his father before that. I followed in those footsteps. I was loyal to her only. My master. The Terrio Leviathan. Beautiful, intelligent, fierce, but kind and loving. Everything one could hope for in a master. So I eagerly volunteered for this mission. But that's enough of me for now. Let's get this story really started. I got out of bed and put on my uniform. It was tight and utterly unfashionable. I frowned as I put on my shoes and left for school, just a 10-minute walk from the apartment my master provided for me. When I passed the school gates, I heard the conversations of various teenage girls with my enhanced hearing as a devil. It was annoying to say the least, with the girls commenting about my appearance, which is beautiful as I am a devil. I made my way up to the classroom where I was assigned and waited for the teacher to call me in. "Class, we have a new student," she stated as I walked in. I heard the whispers and giggles of the girls, but kept my attention to the two girls I have been briefed on. There, in the middle of the class, Ria's Gremory. Sister of the imposter Lucifer that is running the underworld. And her queen, Akeno Himejima. "Hello there, my name is Issei Oyama. Nice to meet you all." I smiled at the class as the girls sighed in unison. "Okay, please sit next to Miss Gremory," the teacher said as Ria's raised her hand. "No need, I already know where you sit." I made my way over there, a smile plastered on my face to disarm the devils here. I sat down on the seat to the right of her and glanced over in her direction. "Nice to meet you," she said. "Likewise." Contact made. The day was uneventful for the most part. Lessons in human history, language, mathematics, and science. 3 out of those 4 I've been schooled in since I was a child. And language. Please, as a devil, I have the ability to communicate across any language, whether it be verbal or reading-wise. Throughout the day, I saw the 2 devils and their peerages. Peerages? Such disgraceful, low groups. Purity is key for us devils. And they're ruining it for us true devils. Reincarnating other beings into devils is absolutely detestable. Devils are strong, and reincarnating humans out of all beings introduces weakness into devilhood. It is absolutely disgusting that the underworld has fallen to such levels. I had to encounter numerous reincarnated mutts without revealing myself, a task that was extremely difficult given the clear, disgusting aura they gave off. The Gremory and Citri auras were pure and the others weren't, making me want to gag if I didn't get away from them immediately. From the reincarnated devils I saw, I put the total number at a little near a dozen. Most were young, being a year or so since they became devils. As I observed the devils, I felt some of them looking back. I caught covert glances from Ria's, her queen, and 2 devils who I followed back to Ria's. This gave me the impression that they are her slaves, reincarnated devils that serve her. I don't believe that my aura is readily detectable to their senses. The limiter on my left leg prevents my aura from being detected unless you have really good aura detection abilities or are really close to my body. I remained cautious for the rest of the day, exiting school as quickly as I could after the day ended as I planned on what I was going to be in this school. Report in, Issei. Lady Leviathan, I have made contact with the 2 heiresses. I saw them and their peerages and put their current number at 12 or less. Lady Leviathan nodded in the communication hologram. The spell held up as Lady Leviathan put her hand on her chin and thought. Get into contact with them. She said as I raised my eyebrows. To what purpose is this for? Wouldn't getting close to them risk exposing my observation on them? I asked her, respectfully of course. There is always a risk of that happening, Issei. Nonetheless, it is always nice getting intelligence on the two sisters of the fake Satans. She said as I understood her point. Roger that. I shall find a way to insert myself into their circle. Continue your good work. Alert us to any important intelligence. She said, breaking off her end of the communication spell. I did the same before sitting down in my bed. How exactly shall I get into their circle? I closed my eyes, pondering this question for a few seconds as I weighed many options in my head. I could hide my devil blood and take an evil piece into my body, becoming a peerage member in either peerage. Disgraceful, so I put that on the bottom of my choices. I could become a client of either. Interesting, no noticeable drawbacks. Save for later. Draw their attention some other way. Good, I'll go with that. I finished school, immediately walking to the room where the kendo club held practices. It is said that performances in athletics brings attention to oneself, so that is how I will draw attention to myself from them. I decided to join a club that has contact is the best for me, and this narrowed it down to kendo or judo. From the information that one of our spies in Grimory Manor provided us, a member in Ria's peerage is quite the swordsman. As such, kendo will provide a direct path to his attention, and therefore Ria's attention. I remained stoic as I entered the dojo and saw someone in kendo armor. Is this the kendo club? I asked the girl. I can't tell who is underneath that armor. Yes, what do you want? The voice, a female, asked me in a rather rash tone. I frowned at this response and thought of how I would go about responded to this. I'm looking join, and I know that I can beat everyone here. I frowned as the last human fell. Humans are such weak beings, and these girls provided no different. I ran through them like nothing. 12 girls stepped forward, 12 fell. No one landed a single strike on me, and I parried and blocked every strike they threw before I decided to end each match with a single thrust front of the helmet. The rude girl, the girl who I asked my question to in the beginning, was the captain apparently. Not anymore. Such skill. She said, awestruck at this. It's true human. Swords always made sense to me, and I've always been skilled with them, no matter the shape or size. I smiled as I took off the kendo helmet. So, I assume that I am the captain now. It's rather boring toying with such weak opponents. Day after school, I led the kendo club's practices. What constitutes for a light stretch for devils ended up making each girl vomit after 20 minutes of practice. Yet, each came back, more determined and fit. They've even started landing strikes on when I let them of course. They're rather remarkable these humans. Push them, and they push back harder on you. Truly remarkable willpower. On another topic, my goal to get the attention of the swordsman of Ria's peerage has worked. 3 days after I assumed position of captain, he walked into the kendo training hall as the girls swooned over him. He was handsome, I'll admit that, but his aura as a reincarnated devil was greatly irritating me. Hello there, you here for practice? I asked, knowing what his purpose was already. No, but I heard you are a good swordsman. So I've been told. I responded, knowing of the rumors about me in the school. A knight in shining armor with incredible sword skills defeated the entire kendo club and became their captain while sweeping girls off their feet. Greatly exaggerated of course, as on par with what teenage girls, whether they be human or devil. Would you like to spar? I asked him as he nodded. He put on protective equipment, as did I. We got our wooden swords as all the girls watched over our little meet. Good luck. I said to him. Likewise. He said. We bowed and one of the girls, I forget who, started the match with her signal. I dashed at him and heard a gasp behind his helmet. He probably wasn't expecting me to move that fast as he thinks I'm a human. Big mistake number 1. I slashed at his helmet, but he managed to pull back. He tried to stab me in the torso, but I parried it away with my wooden sword. I advanced towards him, ducking a wide swing and lifting my sword up in an attempt to hit in him the torso. Damn, he's fast. Oh wait, it's not that he is fast, it is just this damn limiter is inhibiting my full speed. Right now I am just barely faster than a human athlete. And I'm dragging this out, as much as it pains me. I can't win, otherwise he will know something is up as a human could never hope in matching a devil in terms of speed. I have to throw this now to avoid suspicion. I parried his sword and purposefully avoided retracting it and I let him hit me in the side of the facial protector. Stop. Match over. The girl said as I sighed. Good match. He said with a smile after taking his helmet off. He approached him with his hand out. You too. I smiled, shaking his hand despite the reincarnated stench that was coming from his body. We should spar some more in the future. He said as I nodded. Indeed. But. The day after started normally until lunch when I was confronted in the cafeteria. Issei Oyama. This girl, a reincarnated mutt, asked as she stood next to one of the heiresses. The sister of the fake Leviathan. What could she want? Yes, what can I do for you? I asked in a nice voice, holding back the gagging of being next to this mutt's aura. It has come to our attention that you are now the captain of the kendo club. Is this correct? She asked me as I felt the heiress stare me down. She can't feel my aura, can't she? This is indeed correct. I said as the heiress nodded. Alright then, please follow us. The heiress said, turning around to walk away. What could they want? Am I being led into a trap? I'm not in trouble, am I? I feigned in a shocked voice. The mutt, still looking at me, spoke to me. No, we just need you in the student council room to fill out some paperwork. She said as she turned around to follow her master. Ah, thank you miss. I didn't catch the mutt's name and I need to remain polite. Shinra. Vice President Tsubaki Shinra. She said as I followed the two, well, one devil and one reincarnated mutt out of the cafeteria. And you are? I asked, referring to the heiress. I only knew her as a Citri and the sister of the fake Leviathan, and I didn't know her first name. Might as well know the name of who you will kill in the future. President Sauna Shitori. She stated as a fact of matter. The rumors of her being uptight appear to be true. As we approached the student council room, I felt more reincarnated auras. I wanted to throw up as I entered the well-furnished student council room, but managed to keep up my cover. There are 6 more devils, 5 girls and 1 boy. The boy in particular had a strange feeling to him. Great power resides within him. It's faint now, but it might grow in the future. She might have recruited a dragon-wielding human into her peerage. I'll need to confirm if he has a dragon in some way. Okay, please sit across from Saji. He will hand you the necessary forms to complete. The sister of the fake Leviathan said to me. I sat across from the boy Saji, who frowned at me sitting across from him. Here. He said abruptly. Is he angry at me for some reason? I glanced at the forms he pushed in my direction and then at the others in the room. It makes sense. This is his harem and he views me as an intruder. I chuckled as I looked at him. Pathetic. A mutt having a harem of other incarnated mutts. Fitting. A true devil like myself would only have the best girls for his harem. I'm still working on getting my master, but it is coming along. What's so funny? He asked me in a rude voice. I frowned and stopped my laughter. Nothing. After finishing the paperwork, I stood up to hand the forms to the fake Leviathan sister when something caught my eye. Is that chess? I asked, glancing to the chessboard by the window. Indeed it is. Do you play? She asked me. I do. I've been a champion of chess, so to speak. I'm not bragging. No one beats Lord Euclid Lucifuge in a game of chess, ever, and I did, breaking his undefeated streak. Master Rizavem even congratulated me on the feat. Really? Would you like to play? She said, a smile forming on her lips. Funny. You think you could beat me? Of course. Best of luck to you. It was hard, I admit. This girl had a great strategic mind. She thought 20 moves ahead, forcing me to in turn do the same. Every move leads to 10,000 more, and I had to carefully dwell on each one. She forced me to do my best, and I haven't had such a good game in many years since Lord Lucifuge. There was, however, one fatal flaw in her strategy. She was a great attacker and marvelous defender, but she cared about her pieces far too much. You see, chess isn't a game based solely on number of pieces one has. That doesn't determine the outcome of the game. Sure, having more pieces is great, but territory and positioning are far superior in my opinion. And that was her fatal flaw, she wouldn't capture territory at the expense of her pieces. Something that could readily be exploited. Her strategy of preserving her pieces contrasted with mine. Use the pieces to capture the advantageous positions and dispose of the pieces when their task is complete. It showed on the board. She had 10 of her pieces left and I only had 5. Her pieces, however, were bunched up or blocked by each other. Her rooks were non-factors, being blocked by her pawns and otherwise were too far away to be of support. Her knights, rooks, queen, 2 pawns, and 1 bishop were gone. I lost 7 pawns, 1 rook, 1 bishop, 1 knight, and 1 queen. Everything was in place though. Good game, President Shitori. However, not good enough. It's over. I said, moving my remaining pawn to the other side. I received a queen, completely trapping her king. The king was trapped by my new queen on her row, prevented from moving diagonally due to my bishop, and couldn't move a space down to my knight. Checkmate. I said, getting up from the table. I smiled as I turned around, seeing the shocked faces of everyone who had gathered to watch the game. But especially Sona's face was the best. Complete shock and disbelief at the fact that I won. Wait. Let me see. I heard her move the pieces to see if she could do anything, but no, she couldn't. It's over. Good game. Report in, Issei. Lady Leviathan commanded me over the communication portal. I've inserted myself into the sights of the Gremory and Citri clans. I also humiliated the Citri heiress today by beating her in chess. My master smiled at this. She truly is beautiful, but especially when she smiles. Good my Issei. I felt satisfaction at this. I have a task for you. Of course, Lady Leviathan. There have been rumors of fallen angels in your area. Normally we wouldn't care, but we have also heard reports of a special human who is in cohorts with these fallen angels. This human is said to be the fallen maiden, Asia Argento, and she is said to possess the rare sacred gear, Twilight Healing. She told me through the portal. Twilight Healing? I've heard of this before. It is said to heal any injury if I recall correctly. I'll investigate these rumors. If they are found to be true, kill everyone you come across to find the sacred gear and acquire it. The sacred gear will be of great use to us on the battlefield, so don't lose your opportunity to get it. Understood. Was smiling when the portal closed. Sacred gears. All humans have the potential to have one implanted in their body by the creator of heaven, whose name I won't name due to me receiving pain if I do. The only devils that have sacred gears are reincarnated mutts. These so-called devils were humans before being reincarnated, and that is the only reason that they have their sacred gear. I think this will be the first time that a pure devil will have a sacred gear in their body, and a rare one at that. Twilight Healing, a sacred gear that can turn the tide of battle by healing anything. In our hands, we can finally use it to overthrow the fake Satans and bring the rightful Satans back to where they belong. Alright, slow down Issei, think. Breathe. First, I have to make sure the rumors and find this girl. If she is with fallen angels, kill all of those ravens and then secure the girl. There is a spell that Lord Beelzebub taught me years back that can determine the type and ability of a sacred gear, and I will use that on the girl. If it is Twilight Healing, I will kill the girl and take her sacred gear from her. Alright, sounds like a plan. Nah, Misako. I said to the Kendo Club's former captain, now vice captain in the hallway after school. Yes captain. She asked me, turning around to face me. Can you lead the club today? I have a family issue that I need to settle. Sure. I smiled. That was easier than I expected. I expected her to prior question me, but she didn't. I made my way to entrance of Kuo Academy, but stopped and frowned. I felt them staring at me. There were two of them, following me. They are now hiding in the trees, but I can still sense their presence. I have to lose them. I walked to the other side of the street and made a turn at the corner. I still felt them tailing me, so I continued walking to a main road. I then cut to a small side street and hid behind a black car. I glanced from behind the car's bumper as I saw the two mutts trailing me walk past the side street. It was a girl from Ria's peerage. A freshman if I remember correct. She is the one the students call the mascot, and her name is Kaneko Taoju I believe. She caught my attention as when I walked past her in the hallway, her aura stood out. It was reincarnated, but not human. She was some type of yokai, cat in particular, but I couldn't get anything else beside that information. The girl walking beside her was the girl from the student council room yesterday. It was the student council vice president, Shinra, I believe. Why are they following me? Do they know I am a devil? I kept these thoughts in my head as I turned down the side street and headed for my true destination, the abandoned church on the edge of town. All the fallen angels that I've encountered always nested in abandoned churches or monasteries. They would smash the religious imagery in the place, not that I complained as the imagery made me roll my eyes as a devil. The place then got a new coat of blood paint after I killed the fallen angels in the location. Call it, making the world safer, one black feather at a time. Let's make it happen again. I found the church on the other side of the town. It looks run down and abandoned, but I feel that there are several exorcists in there currently. Lady Leviathan mentioned fallen angels, but there currently are no fallen angels inside, or none that I can currently feel. I groaned as I made my way towards the church. As I am a devil, I cannot go to a church without experiencing some pain. Even though I have grown somewhat resistant to the pain by forcing myself to go to churches to kill fallen angels for Lady Leviathan, it still pains me to some degree. I frowned as I knocked on the giant door to the church. The door creaked open, letting a pulpit and some benches come into view. I walked in as a young person stood in front of the pulpit, smiling a rather creepy smile. I saw the hilt of a light sword sticking out from his robe, but I ignored it as he held a Bible under his armpit as he stared at me. "What can I do for you?" he said in a rather crazed voice. I decided to humor this human before killing him. "Are you a father?" Yes. Yes, I am. I am Father Friede Selzen at your service. He said with a bit of a laugh. Father, I have a confession to make. I smiled as these words came out of my mouth. What is it? I am ready to listen to your stupid confession. Forgive me, Father, for I am about to sin. I said, rushing towards him, punching it through his chest. Blood came out of his mouth as the sword dropped from his hand. Wow, this human has good reflexes. Or should I say had. Come out and play exorcists. High-class devil like myself can really help make a name for yourself. That should get their attention. It sure did. I heard footsteps from the stairs behind the pulpit. Soon enough, there were 7 exorcists, each holding a light sword in one hand and a gun in the other. I used Friede's body as a shield from the hail of bullets. If I didn't, those things could really hurt me if they hit cleanly, so I need to prevent that from happening. I ran towards the exorcist on the rightmost side as I dropped Friede. The exorcist turned his body towards me, trying to aim his gun at my body. Devil is faster than human, sorry. It feels so good having this damn limiter off, further showing the difference in our speed. I punched him in the face and disarmed his gun with my free hand. I grabbed a stunned exorcist and whirled him around to use as a human shield. With the gun in my right hand and the struggling exorcist in the other, I aimed my gun at the other exorcists. I shot the exorcist closest to me in the head as the rest fired at me. The bullets whizzed past me or hit the shield, killing him. I continued firing as the exorcist's body shielded me from gunfire. I shot 3 other exorcists in the upper chest before the gun became empty. I tossed the exorcist human shield at another exorcist before rushing to the one closest to me. I sidestepped him, punching him in the back of the head. The remaining exorcist couldn't shoot at me as he risks hitting the guy I just punched. The guy I punched fell to the ground, dropping his gun in the process. I dived in for it, avoiding 3 bullets in the process. I rolled for the gun and got it. I aimed the gun at the last exorcist, shooting him in the stomach. He recoiled in pain as I followed up with a kick to the leg, buckling his knee. He fell to the ground, hitting his head on the ground as I heard a thud sound. He's alive. Unconscious, but alive. Good, I need him to send a message to the remaining fallen angels. I took out a bullet from a gun I found lying on the ground out of the magazine. It caused me great discomfort, but I managed to get the bullet out. I placed the unconscious exorcist in front of the pulpit. I took the bullet and carved a message for the fallen angels when they get back. Fallen angel ravens, you have something I want. Give the girl to me, and I don't have to kill all of you. Good day from the devil. I smiled as the blood came out of his body, writing my message for me. I turned to the door as I felt familiar presences approaching the church. It is the Citri and Gremory peerages. Damn, my surge of power must have alerted them. I took the limiter from my pocket and placed it around my ankle, limiting the flow of my aura. I teleported out of the church and back to my apartment as the auras converged on the church. Whew, I just managed to escape that one. I took some of the guy's blood and placed a spell on it. Now I know where that exorcist is at all times. If my assumption is correct, he will run back to his fallen angel comrades, and that is where I will kill all of them and hopefully find the girl. Now it is just the waiting game. Went out the door of my apartment and frowned when I saw the person in the hallway. Ria's Gremory, the devil with the peerage in the occult research club. Ah, Miss Gremory, what brings you over to my residence? Seriously, why are you here? Issei, am I right? Captain of the Kendo Club. She asked me as I felt her eyes scan up and down my body. Indeed I am. You still didn't answer my question. I said as she frowned. Ah, so cold. I just wanted to see the person who nearly bested Kiba in a sparring match myself. Alright, somewhat reasonable response. And that brought you to my apartment how? I actually am curious because I felt no one watching me and I couldn't have been tailed here yesterday night. Oh, a girl has her ways. She said with a smile. She actually is a really beautiful girl when she smiles. Too bad she is related to the fake Satans, otherwise she might have made a good member of my harem. Well, I don't appreciate you stalking me, I don't have time to dwell on that now as I have to get to school. Mind if I walk with you? Yes. No, let's walk together. I forced out of my mouth painfully. After getting to school and hearing many of the whispers of Issei and Ria's in a relationship by the numerous girls of the school, I made it to my homeroom class. After, the day itself began normally. I breezed through most of my classes, but in calculus something happened. The spell that put on the exorcist sent feedback to me. Took him long enough. I toned out the lesson and examined his location. The beauty of the spell is that it lets me see everything that the exorcist sees and hears and gives me his exact location. Okay, it appears that he is in an abandoned warehouse in the industrial section of Kuo. I see 4 fallen angels directly in his view and a girl tied to a crucifix. The female one with black hair doesn't look too happy. What happened, you idiot? Miss Raynor, I'm sorry, he just took us by surprise. So that fallen is Raynor? Doesn't look too powerful. Who took you by surprise? What happened? She asked as I peered through the eyes of the exorcist. The devil. A strong one. He killed everyone but me and let me live to tell you that he knows of our plans. This sent alarm into the fallen's eyes. Alright, no matter. We will be done within the hour and then leave this place for good. Better hurry then. I broke off the spell and then thought of how I could get out of class. I smiled as I thought of the perfect plan. I generated a little fire in the storage room on the first floor. 10 seconds later. Ring ring ring. The fire alarm went off. Alright class, single file line out the door. The teacher said as everyone hastily got up. I stood in the back of the line as everyone clamored to get out of the building. As all the classes on this floor went to the stairwells, I snuck into the men's bathroom and teleported myself to the exorcist. I startled everyone in the warehouse with my presence and sent them scrambling for weapons. Hello, my name is Issei, and you have something of mine. It's him. The exorcist from yesterday said as he saw my face. Yes, how's it going, friend? Do you like that tattoo I gave you? I chuckled as his face twisted with rage and he brandished a light sword. I grinned as he tried to slash at me, but I simply dodged his attacks. You've outlived your usefulness. I said, ducking under a swing before punching a hole into his face. His dead body flew towards the ceiling and into the sky, leaving me alone with the 4 fallen angels. You are very bold to come here by yourself. The lone male said as he materialized a blue light spear. I can't wait to kill the devil. The lowly said as she created a pink light spear. You're too late. We've already acquired the sacred gear. The tall woman said as I smiled. It doesn't matter. I'll kill all of you and then rip it from your body. I knew who had the sacred gear. It was the fallen angel that was talking before, Raynor, I believe her name is. Don't underestimate us, shitty devil. Raynor chucked a light spear at me. I don't need to underestimate such weak creatures. I dodged the light spear and glanced at the lone male in the group. I'll kill him first. I rushed at him, dodging light spears from every direction before punching him in the face. He materialized his wings and I grabbed the black wings, tearing them from his back. Nice wings. I chuckled as I punched a hole through his chest, killing him. 1 down, 3 women left. What are you waiting for, middled, get him. Raynor shouted as I laughed maniacally. A little fallen angel. Surely you can do better than that. She charged at me with her light spear, to which I sidestepped. I believed that I should show them who they are dealing with. Time to show them my family's power. I parried away the light spear and then grabbed the fallen angel, spinning her so that she is in front of me like a human shield. What are you doing? Let go of me. I grinned as she struggled out of my grasp. You all should really know who you are dealing with. I pushed the girl away and when she spun to face me, I placed my palm on her head. The girl's eyes and mouth radiated black light as I smote her. Black penance, you know who I am now. The fallen angels looked at me with terror in their eyes. The power of black penance. Issei, Haidu. So you've heard of me. Let's skip pleasantries then. Alwerner, we can kill him. It's 2 against 1. The 2 fallen angels prepared light spears as I smirked. I dodged their torrent of light spears and touched Calwerner's and Raynor's clothes. I haven't done this in years, but dress break. They looked at me confused before their clothes fell off. Ah. They both screamed as their wonderful breasts became visible to me. Focus, Issei, focus on the mission at hand. Ah, made you look. I grabbed Calwerner's breast and smote the fallen angel as Raynor covered her breasts. The perverted devil. I'll kill you. Yes, I am perverted. Nonetheless, I will still beat you. I smiled as Raynor created a light spear. I jumped out of the spear's range before kicking it out of her hand. I tackled her to the ground, feeling her body as I came on top. Ready? I placed my hand on her head as she closed her eyes. I grinned as several seconds went by and she was still alive. I am alive. Lucky for you, Lady Leviathan is better at the sacred gear removal than I am, and we can't afford to lose such a valuable sacred gear. I said, knocking her unconscious with 3 well-placed strikes to the head and neck. I glanced at her naked body one more time before slinging her over my shoulder. I teleported myself to Lady Leviathan's safe house with the fallen angel, ready to take what is rightfully ours. Lady Leviathan walked into the room and frowned at me. Issei, you used dress break, didn't you? She said, glancing at the bound but naked fallen angel. I sighed and nodded. Yes, Lady Leviathan. I couldn't help it. I thought we got over your pervertedness years ago. She sighed as I helped her plop up the fallen angel on an operating table. I've improved. It's true. When I was 17, all I could think about were breasts and ass. 5 years later, I've managed to control my thoughts, but they come out from time to time. Well, you accomplished the mission, and that is all that matters. She said as I smiled. She then turned attention to the fallen angel and removed the gag from Rainer's mouth. You won't get away with this. He'll kill you. He'll kill all of you devils. My master looked upset, and so I did what every servant would have done. I slapped Rainer's face and punched her in the stomach. That wasn't very nice of you to say to my master. You should show more respect to one of the Satans. I said as my master took out a large book and started to flip through the pages. Ha! You must be one of those delusional old Satan faction leaders. I punched her in the face and pulled her hair, causing her to scream out. We don't need disrespect from a fallen angel scum like yourself. That's enough, Issei. I'll handle her from here. My master said as she leaned into Rainer's face with a sadistic smile. I love her when she gets angry. Fallen angel, it has been nice knowing you, but we really need to get that sacred gear out of your filthy body now. I placed the gag back into Rainer's mouth, and then my master started to chant the sacred gear removing spell. Absconditus lapillus intus, manifestaturus est ipsum, et uter conum sint in nobis. Aura radiated inside the room as she chanted these words. The fallen angel's body glowed a bright purple and then a faint green as two rings materialized over Rainer's stomach. Rainer's screams were muffled by the gag, but then died down. Rainer's aura disappeared as I put my hand on her neck. She's dead. What beautiful rings. I commented as the rings went on the ring fingers of my master. You're right, Issei. My master said, observing the rings on her hands with delight. It joys me to bring such pleasure to my master's face. Is there anything else that I should do, my master? I asked Lady Leviathan as she hugged me for some reason. Ah, this feels so good. No, my Issei, that is all for now. But be ready as we will start some big moves in the future. Of course, Lady Leviathan. Few days elapsed after the fallen angel incident. Strangely enough, everything quieted down afterwards. There was no contact from Lady Leviathan in that time frame, Ria's Gremory and her peerage stayed away from me, student council didn't bug me, and kendo club practice was mundane. It was as if a strange peace fell over my life. Nonetheless, I felt an unsettling presence over me. It was like I was being watched. There were times that I felt like I had eyes on me, but when I turned to see them, there was no one there. Unless the Gremory or Citri peerages got drastically better at spying, I must have been dealing with someone else. I put the idea in the back of my head as I trudged on with school and any kendo club practices. It was in the beginning of the week after the fallen angel incident that I was contacted by Lady Leviathan. Issei. Lady Leviathan. I said through the communication portal. I have breaking news. Come to the tertiary hideout. It is absolutely important that we aren't spider listened upon. Roger that. I teleported myself out of my apartment and into the underworld. Lady Leviathan has a very strict set of guidelines when dealing with the safe houses and hideouts. There are specific sets of instructions that I need to follow to get to the hideout and not be tailed. This includes going around in circles and having to purchase certain goods in certain stores. We have a lot of allies who will alert Lady Leviathan at the first sign of any fake Satan attempt on their life. The tertiary hideout that I am meeting Lady Leviathan in is in the city of Oros, in what is now Agar's territory, but formerly Habram territory. It is a bunker on the outskirts of the city, and I have to walk through town to go there. The instructions to get to this place are very specific. Walk down Main Street, purchase a burger and fries from Akuma Nido, purchase a wallet from Demon's Dresses and more, and walk through Centurion Park twice. Why the need for this? I have absolutely no idea. After that really long walk and a nice lunch, I made it to the outskirts. There was a small farm less than 5 minutes from the city limits, and that is where the hideout is. I walked to the small red house where the hideout is and knocked on the door twice. Hello. I greeted the woman who answered the door. It is Melissa's Buse, an old gray-haired woman in a purple dress. That is her current name, but her true name is Annalise Schwarzer, a woman currently on the Underworld's 10 Most Wanted due to her allegiance to us. It's nice to see you, Issei. She smiled at me as I entered her modest home. She quickly shut the door behind her and locked all of the locks on the door. You know where she is. I nodded and made my way through the kitchen of the place to reach the backyard. There is a little shed on the edge of the property and walked into it. It was dark in the shed, but I could see one bale of hay. I pushed the bale and found the hatch underneath. I opened it and hopped into the hole. It was just a flight of stairs until I reached the main room, and there she was. Lady Leviathan. You made it safely. That's good. Yes. So what is the big news? I asked. I managed to locate Crucery. Lord Asmodeus. It has been some time since I saw the Satan, and I assumed that he was executed after being arrested in Lucifit a few years ago. Really, that is big news. Where is he? I asked as Lady Leviathan sighed. He is being held in the Lake of Fire. Ah, the Lake of Fire. A place mentioned in the Bible that is actually accurate as it is just a giant lake of fire, measuring about 10 miles in diameter across. On the Lake of Fire, there is a prison called Foray Prison, which is the most secure prison in the underworld, even above Cocytus. It is similar to the prison of Alcatraz in the United States in that the prison is surrounded by a sea and that it is near impossible to escape Foray Prison. The prison itself is heavily guarded by the Black Knights, a highly trained regiment of devils whose sole task in life is to prevent notorious high-risk prisoners from escaping back into the underworld. On top of that, the Lake of Fire is patrolled by the Underworld Navy, specifically the Western Fleet, and their detachment of Devil Marine Force Reconnaissance. And I can't simply just teleport in and out with him, as there is a special barrier that prevents teleportation in and out of the prison. Trust me, we've tried many times to break into the prison. And we are going to break him out. I dreaded asking, but I already knew the answer. Of course. Shalba has agreed to the plan and has paid off a guard there already. He has supplied me with the plans of the prison, shift changes, and general protocol, but what? I dreaded what she was going to say next. But we don't actually know where Crucery is being held. It is now up to you to free Crucery. Wonderful. So I have to evade the Western Fleet's constant patrols, land on the island, get past the Black Knights, find Asmodeus, and leave the island with him. This should be fun. I looked at the dingy canoe in front of me. Surprisingly, the thing floats on the Lake of Fire, which is causing me to sweat a bit. I believe that the Lake of Fire is enchanted so that it acts like regular water would to a boat. The entire Lake of Fire was obscured by a thick haze of smoke that comes from the fire, so the patrols can't see me, but I can't see them until they are very close. I looked at my two companions for this trip, Mitsuda and Motohoma. They are childhood friends of mine and loyal to the true Satans as well. They are extremely trustworthy and skilled devils, so that is why Lady Leviathan assigned them to my command for this mission. 3 is better than 1, no. I sat at the head of the head as Mitsuda and Motohoma got in behind me. Mitsuda and Motohoma rowed using oars, and we proceed to the prison in the dead center of the lake. That damn prison guard didn't tell us the movements of the Navy, so we just have to hope that we don't run into any patrol boats, or we will have to kill them and head on our way. The pace of the rowing was far faster than that of the humans, but the distance that we travel is much farther than what humans have to do. It was aggravating to not have the ability to use magic to propel us forward, but that might have given away our presence to any patrol boats in the area. It took us 10 minutes to row into a dangerous situation. We encountered a Predator-class patrol boat manned by 2 Marines. We managed to stop them before they saw us, and we immediately silenced them. Motohoma, Mitsuda, you need to go there. They might get suspicious if there is no contact from the boat. My 2 friends nodded at my suggestion. The boat moved closer to the patrol boat, and my 2 friends went over to the patrol boat, which was much faster than mine. Put on the uniforms. I'll contact you when Lord Asmodeus is rescued. Until then, patrol around and don't look suspicious. Roger that. Good luck. My 2 friends said as I pushed off with an oar. I used both oars to push myself to the prison. There was surprisingly little trouble the second half of the way there, and I soon landed on the island prison's shoreline. The island itself is flat, with no changes in elevation, and that is bad for me, as there is no place for me to hide. The prison is surrounded by a massive wall, which I rushed to in order to avoid the guards in the watchtowers. I memorized the layout of the prison from the plans that the guard gave us. The prison is essentially 2 circular walls, each enclosing the prison further. One wall is to keep beings out, and the other is to keep the prisoners in. There are watchtowers every 30 meters, 2 guards per tower. There are 2-man devil patrols constantly throughout the island, and a chain link fence as the final layer before the actual prison building. I laid down my duffel bag and unzipped it, pulling out copied Black Knight prison guard uniform. I stripped out of the jumpsuit I am in and put the uniform on as quickly as I could. I slipped the rest of the items I had in the bag into pockets of the prison guard uniform. I looked at my watch to see how much time I have to work. 10:25. Alright, shift change in 5 minutes. I can get into the prison during the brief period when everyone is getting relieved from duty. I scaled my way up the wall and entered the walkway of the wall. From here, I see the distant second wall and the gate straight to the prison right near me. Interesting. There appears to be a new shipment of prisoners coming in today. That is the perfect cover. I walk down the stairs to the first level, where there are 12 prisoners lined up in 2 lines. I walked with the prisoners and guards past the gate of the inner wall and through the chain link fence as the prison building came into view. I walked through the front door of the building and saw a magnificently decorated lobby. Nice taste. I followed the group of prisoners before walking down a nearby corridor. Alright, from what the guard told us of the inside, there are 5 wards inside this building. There is the administrative ward, the infirmary ward, the prisoners' mess hall ward, the staff's mess hall ward, and prisoner lodgings. I am currently in the administrative ward, which is good as I'm sure that I can find the information as to where Lord Asmodeus is being held in this ward. I looked down at the ground as I passed other guards as I searched for a room that might have records. Something like the main office must have something like files on the prisoners. I searched for the signs as I walked around in circles before catching sight of the room labeled record room at the end of the hallway. I glanced behind me, making sure that no one was following me or saw what I was doing. I took out a lockpick and jimmied open the door. I slid into the room, closing the door behind me silently. There is an empty desk at the end of the room with file cabinets on either side. Let's see what's here. Personnel files. General ordinances. Devil Institute laws and regulations. Ah, here it is. Inmate files. I opened the cabinet and looked through the labeled folders for Asmodeus. It was easy as the files were alphabetically organized. The first thing in his file was this, a police record of him. Name: Crucery Asmodeus. Date of birth: June 6, 1986. Sex: male. Species: DEVIL pure blood. Place of birth: exact location unknown. Assumed to be Nazarene, Gamajan territory, underworld. Height: 188 centimeters. Weight: 97 kilograms. Crimes: conspiracy to overthrow the government, murder, arson, theft, treason, and assault. Notes: prisoner is extremely dangerous. Isolate prisoner within confined ward to avoid conflict with other prisoners. Made repeated escape attempts from Cocytus and Rame prison. Alright, not relevant to what I am doing. What else is here? Medical files, request to move to general populace, here it is. Location: prisoners' lodgings, male ward, cell block D, cell number 66F. Alright, got a location. I placed everything back where it was and glanced at my watch. 10:58. Good, another shift change is coming. I crept out the room and made it down to the male ward of the prisoners' lodgings. At the stairs, it showed the cell block to be going down from A to D, so he must be on the bottom of the stairs. I rushed down to the D cell block and saw 2 patrolling guards turn the corner. I see dungeons upon dungeons as I made my way the cell block, which is a long straight set of cells before reaching the corner. None of the dungeons contained Lord Asmodeus, so I need to look further. I peeked my head out, seeing those 2 guards come back towards me. I readied my baton and knife as they inched closer by. I spun out, taking them by surprise by hitting one in the head with a baton and stabbing the other with the knife in the head. I frantically searched the bodies as the prisoners around me yelled and hollered, happy that I killed the guards. I searched the bodies of the guards and found a set of keys on them. I took them and made my way to the cell label 66F, and there he was. Lord Asmodeus, sitting disheveled and unkempt, but alive. Lord Asmodeus, I said respectfully, kneeling on one knee before him. I saw him squint his eyes and stand up when I said his name. Issei? Yes, my lord. Lady Leviathan has sent me here to set you free. I saw his face widen with a big smile at this. I knew Kateria would come for me. Release me. I nodded, jumbling the keys to find the one that would open his cell. I found it and released the Satan from his cell. How do we get out of here? He asked me as I heard an alarm blare out. What is that? An infiltrator has been discovered on the island. All guards execute Ordinance 9932. The PA system blared out as I started to panic. What is that? I said, thinking of contingency plans on the spot. It's a lockdown measure. Prevent anyone from coming in and out while making sure all the prisoners are in their cells. Alright, that is doable. I thought of a good plan. Put on one of those guards' uniform. I'll open up these cells to release the prisoners and we'll escape in the chaos. He nodded and rushed towards the dead guards as I started opening up cells. The prisoners ran out as he put on the uniform. I managed to free everyone in the cell block as he put everything on, so there are over 100 prisoners on the loose. You lead. He said as we followed the wave of prisoners to the top of the stairs. It is a few hundred meters to the entrance of the administrative ward. We will go out from there, scale the walls, and make it to the raft. From there, we will teleport out. Alright, let's go. I nodded and we made our way through the chaos of the prison break. Everywhere we went we saw guards fighting prisoners. In the infirmary ward, we saw a group of prisoners overpower the guards and kill them. More guards. One of them, a tall tattooed one with a broken glass bottle, shouted at us. Crap. I took out my baton and knife as Lord Asmodeus wielded 2 batons. We beat the prisoners down and made it past them and outside into the recreation yard. What I saw surprised me. The group of prisoners wielding a makeshift battering ram tried to break down the second wall after somehow getting through the chain link fence. The guards on the watchtower are shooting at those prisoners who died as a small hole opened up in the wall. There. Lord Asmodeus pointed to the wall. I nodded and rushed towards the hole in the wall. I knew that the guards were still up there, so I pretended to look at the corpses on the ground as the outer wall stood in front of us. I saw the gate out of the corner of my eye and nudged Lord Asmodeus there. We kept our eyes down as we approached the gate. What is your purpose for leaving? The guard to my right asked me. There are 2 guards currently manning the gate. We need to make sure that no prisoners escape to the outside during the riot. Warden's orders. Asmodeus said as I noticed the 2 guards stare at each other before nodding. Okay, open the gate. The first one shouted as the gates opened. Lord Asmodeus and I just walked out of the prison and started sprinting. The guards started shooting at us, but the bullets missed us. We made it to the canoe and started to paddle as fast as we could. The anti-teleportation barrier on the island is still strong enough to prevent us from teleporting, so we need to be a bit further away from the island. Damn, my arms are getting tired and I still feel the force of the barrier, which is getting weaker. There is a patrol boat approaching us as I paddled faster. That is weird, why is the patrol boat smoking? A smile appeared on my face as I saw who was manning the patrol boat. Bitsuda, Motohoma. You scared me for a bit. Lord Asmodeus. Motohoma said as they both bowed. Yeah, we ran into trouble as we passed another boat. They saw through our disguise and we had to kill them, but they managed to get in a distress call in. Yeah, that made the escape much harder thanks to you. I joked after Lord Asmodeus got into the patrol boat and I followed shortly after. Alright, drive out of range of the barrier. Motohoma nodded and we drove for a few hundred meters before I felt the barrier's effect become nothing. Alright, let's teleport. I summoned a magic circle to take us all back to the location where Lady Leviathan is. I teleported there and saw her facing us with a giant smile. Crucery. Kateria. The Satans hugged as I smiled. We did it. We are one step closer to saving the underworld. Thanks for watching this video. Part 1 is over. If you really enjoy this video, like, subscribe and comment down below and turn on that bell notification. Don't forget to support the Skylinemaster for writing that awesome fanfic. See you in the next video. Goodbye.